So, so I'm in my 505 V6 90 AC production. So sometime in 2014, 15, either 15 or 16, around that time. So the alternator failed. I could say I was actually the cause, because I saw the risk and I left it, ignored it, and eventually damaged the alternator. That is one of the sensors. Oil pressure sensor was leaking oil, which was damaged by someone, a mechanic. So instead of me to deal with it that time, so I was like, hey, let me just keep using the car until I figure out, because I couldn't get the sensor, but I had the option to block that place. The sensor, just remove the sensor, block it with something else, pending when I can find the replacement. So I left it, it kept leaking oil, I kept driving it, and it was facing directly on the alternator. The sensor, so the oil keep pouring on the alternator until one night, I could remember vividly. The headlight started to shine, as in every light on the instrument panel everywhere became as bright as LED. Even the headlight was like, wow, it was as if it was a street light. So that was when I knew my alternator was packing up. So I managed to get the car home, but before I even got home, the battery light came up. So ever since then, I was not able to get a good replacement for the alternator. The one that came with the car was I'm trying to remember the capacity, was it 90? If I'm not mistaken, 90 amps, between 70 to 90 amps. But since then, I couldn't find, all the ones I was seeing were 50 amps for 504, 505. Couldn't get a good replacement. So, even the current one now, I gathered it, was it not last 2 years ago or so, from Onitsha. It's a long story, but to cut it short, this one came bigger than even the factory alternator. It's not even a Peugeot alternator, so but it has the same mount position. So I mounted it, and so what it does is, to start the vehicle, it will be giving you like 13.8 volts. But we start putting on the gadgets, the headlights, the wiper, the AC. It will drop to like 13.2. Sometimes it will come down to like 12.8, 12.7. So, which is still a concern, but it still runs, doesn't drain the battery. But that concern is there, that it may one day drop less than 12.5 volts, and then it start draining battery. However, the one that came with the car, it has never dropped less than 14 volts. No matter what you do, it will remain 14 volts, whether you are running AC, whatever it is. So since then, I have not been able to get one that could be able to give me that kind of service. For what I gathered, the 505 V6 and GTI use the same alternators. So while every other 504, 505 had a lower capacity alternator, that's what I gathered. I'm not so sure. So, and you can't use the alternator on a modern Peugeot vehicle. They can't work on this one. They are different. Whether you can boot it, they will work. So what I decided to do was, while I'm still figuring it out, I decided to go for something that I can be able to monitor the alternator. So I ordered this from AliExpress, the voltmeter that I can install, just like a 504G and 504 Ti, that has voltmeter here, which monitors your alternator. If your alternator is charging well, you see it. If it's overcharging, you see it. If it's undercharging, you see it. If it stops charging completely, you see it. That's one of the things I like about 504G. So I was okay. This one, 505, I didn't put that feature. in all 505. Another 504 you can get it is Argentina spec 504. They have that voltmeter. So I wanted to get this universal one, and so here it is. The connections. You even have a manual or how you can install it. It's very simple. Don't need to be an expert to understand it. They have different gauges there, in fact. Unfortunately, I've still not be able to get that oil pressure sensor that failed, or switch that failed. I've tried many times. The problem is where you bolt it on. That this VCC one is much bigger, so I'm thinking no need to buy this one because it might not fit in. But I'll keep checking until I find one someday. So it has so many types: oil pressure gauge, oil temperature gauge, water temperature gauge, that's coolant temperature gauge. Then we have the voltmeter and fuel level gauge. So for now, the instrument panel, VCC instrument panel is not here. Remember, this is the 4-cylinder one that I put when I was doing the conversion. So I put, remember I removed it, I put 4-cylinder in the past, then later remove and mount back the VCC engine. So when I mounted the VCC engine back, I wanted to put back the VCC instrument panel, but at the point I was like, let me leave it. You know why? Because the VCC one, the tachometer was not working well before I even removed it. It was acting up. Sometimes it will work, sometimes it will just drop. If you hit here, it will start working. So I was having partial contact. I made an attempt to see if we can even open it up to see if it's something that will need to be soldered. But doing that, it appears I might break some things in the process. So I left it. So the VCC super panel is still there. So in VCC super panel, yeah, the oil level gauge is here. Oil temperature gauge. One of these two sensors, these two gauges are for the oil level and the oil temperature. So they work for the VC. So that's why I probably will not need this oil level gauge. Wait, here is it. No, this one is oil temperature. This is oil pressure. So if I need, I don't need them since the VC gauge is there. So now, the fuel level, my fuel is working, coolant temperature gauge is working. So the only one I need is this. Now the issue now is where do I mount it after this the connection? Where do I mount it? So I've been thinking of, I don't know. I don't want to put it on the dashboard. That will mess it up. I don't like that idea. Especially the sun. It's not as if I cannot, but then the sun, it's not the best position. But it will be better because I won't have to be touching that place. Because the place I would have preferred is here. But the problem, because it won't obstruct me actually. Yeah, I can still see the speedometer if I leave it here. My only issue there is if I will have to remove the instrument panel, because I have to pull it out towards here, pull it out towards there before I can push it and remove it. So it means each time I have to do that, I will have to start to unscrew this gauge from here. So I don't know. The best would have been here, but if it stays directly under the sun, is that the ideal place? That's my issue. It's most likely will start damaging the burn stuff inside to stay directly under the sun. You know. It's still well, I don't know yet. So okay, so what will happen is I'll do the connection first, then figure out where to mount it. But I need to make up my mind where, because to mount it here, it means I have to use screw. We should now leave a hole. So if I decide tomorrow to change position, it mean that hole will stay there, which makes it very untidy, and it won't be good to look at. Same thing here. If I put it, it means the dashboard itself has problem in the past. In fact, to be honest, ever since I got the car, this line, this crack has been there, but it's been expanding since 2010. It's been expanding gradually. So like I say, I'm not. I don't know what to do with it, how to handle this dashboard issue. Getting another one might not be that easy, considering it's possible. Who knows? Maybe someday I'll find. In that case, it's solved. Or I get something cover here, or they can repair it. But that might require removing the dashboard. Anyway, for now, honestly, I don't care about that right now. The only thing I care about is where do I mount this thing. So I'll figure it out. So it's just positive, negative. It has light from what I've seen on the site. It has light, so even when it's dark at night, just like instrument panel, the bulb will be showing, so you can be seeing the gauge. So I really like this because you can see 12 volts. So anything once it drop, if I supposed to be it's supposed to be 14 volts. The normal measure is supposed to be 14 volts. 14 point something self here. That 14. Supposed to be above 14. But mine, I don't expect it to get to that. It will be maybe between this 13 to 12. So that if I'm driving, especially at night or daytime, whatever, and I put on AC, that's when I'll start paying attention. There was a time actually I didn't know. I started the vehicle, drove to a place, I think it was filling station, bought fuel. As I was about to drive up, wow, the battery drained. Battery, you couldn't find the engine. I was like, what's wrong? My battery, did it just die? Was this starter motor which was still new? So I had to get another battery, started the car. I had to leave the car at the filling station, came back home, used my second car, went there, used the battery swap, started the vehicle. It was when I started the vehicle, before I cranked the engine, I noticed, okay, when you switch on ignition, it's supposed to show the battery light, and then it wasn't showing the battery light. Then it hit me. The way they designed this older Peugeot cars, I can't say about the modern one, but these older Peugeot cars, if that bulb on the instrument panel does not come up when you switch on the ignition, it doesn't matter what you do, your alternator will not charge. Hear me out. All the connection will be okay, alternator will be in good shape, everything is okay. But if that bulb fails, let's assume the bulb just fails, normally just fails, it got blown or something, the alternator will not charge until you replace the bulb. So in this case, it did not fail, but the bulb, it has a kind of an adjustment on the bulb holder. So I think for some reason it shifted a little. I don't know how. I can't remember. I don't remember removing this thing at that time before it happened. So all I did was I pulled out the instrument panel right there while the engine was running, and immediately I touched that bulb holder a little. Boom. I switched off the engine, switched its ignition on. As immediately I put this in, I touched the battery, the bulb a little, the light came up. because I have my multimeter, tested it, it was not charging. The battery was not charging. So I knew I wouldn't want to kill my second battery. So I had to fix it right there. So immediately the light came up, started the car, started running. So these are the things, so that in case in future I also didn't remember to check whether the light comes up. This will always guide me to know, hey, this car is not charging. If I have my means, I'll put it in all my cars. It's not even that quite expensive. My only issue then is where will I mount them? That is my only problem. You need to figure out where you can mount it so that your eye can be going there also once in a while, or just like other gauges on instrument panel. In that case, you will never ever be stranded. As long as you have this, you will never, unless you ignore it, just like people ignore their coolant temperature gauges, you know. Because once the alternator starts to stop charging, you see it to drop less than 12 volts. In that case, you know, it's your battery that is running the vehicle. You now decide how to go about it, you know. So it honestly is a good modification on vehicles. Like I said, you never know. I might order more and I figure out how to install it on my other cars. It's just a question of where do I install this. So or mount it, not installation. Where do I mount it after the connections? You need these two wire. This is for the light, the bulb inside the gauge assembly. Then this is for, you can see, positive, negative. All this one goes to ignition. The positive ignition, this LED wire ignition, then negative, the black one negative. So okay, so when I mean ignition, I'm talking about ignition, positive supply. Alright, so we'll figure it out, and what I'll do first is to connect it. I think I'll just run the connection first. Then later, once it's confirmed it's working, then you have to mount it. Probably we'll have to figure it out. If I have a way of putting gums here, but I don't want it to make this be untidy, so because if you remove it, it's going to tear out part of this place. So here, I don't know. This is not a bad position, but I hardly remove here anyway. Let me work on this side. So this one will stay much longer here, but here, if I can remove this instrument panel, like I said, I still have plans eventually to put the VCs on back, but not until I can figure out how to find something. What to do about the instrument, the tachometer. I don't like driving car without tachometer working, you know. If I can swap this one, fine, but my issue, like I said, is it breaking the process. Okay, so I'll do the connections and see where, I don't know. Okay, we'll keep you guys on this, but at least now you know the idea. Alright, so we'll see.